Good morning YouTubians, it's Comet's Ghost. You can call me Alan. A little bit of a different video today in so much as this is going to be my last YouTube video for a while. How long I'm going to be away for, I'm not exactly sure, but it's going to be quite a while, but there's no need to unsubscribe. Now before I get onto the films I'm going to show you today, the reason behind my getting away from YouTube is because my wife has an illness and I need to be with her as much as possible. Family comes first. But I want to say what a privilege it's been to bring videos to you over the last X amount of years. This channel goes back at least 6 years, but before that I did delete around 4 years worth of videos, so it's been probably around about 10 years in total. And I made some great friends on here, some lifelong friends, and some of the nicest subscribers I could ever have wished for. Far too many for me to mention individually. But I'd also like to thank the staff at HMV in Brighton. They've been incredibly supportive to my channel, in particular to Louis, the manager, and Andy, as well as Frank, who used to work there. And also over the last few years my channel's been in a partnership with Imprint Films, so a massive thank you to the team over in Australia. It was special thanks going to Owen for getting that partnership started in the first place. Thank you very much. And it's a parcel from Imprint Films that brings my channel to a close today. They sent me out 2 box sets plus a movie to show you, but I've also got a box set on top of that. And this was all sent out before I got the news about my wife, so I wanted to honour that commitment to Imprint Films and show them what they kindly sent my way. So thank you once again for all the support. Thank you for anybody who's left a comment or just a thumbs up or just subscribed to my channel. It was all very much appreciated, and I should be back at some point anyway. So although I am home already, let's cut to the conclusion. Hey everybody, welcome back. So I've got a lot to talk about here. I've got 3 box sets from Imprint Films. The first one at the bottom I bought myself. I bought it under my daughter's name because I didn't want any preferential treatment from Imprint Films, so I had that delivered to my daughter's address. These 2 box sets along with this film at the top were sent to me directly from Imprint Films for me to review on my channel, so I appreciate that, Imprint Films. So I'm going to show you the box sets and I will talk about each film individually, which I've seen every single one. Okay, before I get on to the box sets, I'm going to start off with Bride of Vengeance. This is a black and white historic drama from 1949, directed by Mitchell Leisen, and this sits roughly in the middle of his career. This is set in the 15th century in Italy. It's a story of murder, revenge, love, betrayal, and it's got sprinkles of comedy in as well. It stars Paulette Goddard as Lucretia Borgia. Now, Paulette, you may remember, was in the Imprint box set The Cat and the Canary and Ghostbreakers, which she starred alongside Bob Hope. I showed it on the 20th of January this year. Lucretia, in this she's a married woman, a second husband. Her brother is Caesar, played by MacDonald Carey, who you may know from Days of Our Lives, where he played Dr. Tom Horton. He wants to manipulate her, so he has her husband killed, and then he sets her up with a new man, Alfonso, Duke of Ferrara, who's played by John Lund. Now Caesar also wants him dead, but he lays the blame of Lucretia's first husband's death at Alfonso's feet, hoping that she will kill him off and then Caesar can conquer his land. Sounds more complicated than it is. Also stars Raymond Burr. He's an actor who was forced to conceal his sexuality given the era that he lived, and of course he was the title characters in both Perry Mason and Ironside. This was an interesting watch, made on a very tight budget, but you wouldn't really know that given the opulent costumes and sets. It's got a runtime of 1 hour 32 minutes. It's worth checking out. Let's take a look inside. So the slip box and the cover have a different image. The image from the slip box, which I believe is the poster artwork, has been put onto the disc. And on the reverse of the cover there's a screenshot from the film. So that was Bride of Vengeance. Okay, first one to show you is Tales of Adventure Collection number 2, and on the front cover here we have a collection of images taken from the films. On the side we have the title of the movies. On that side we have Tales of Adventure Collection number 2, and on the back, I'll just peel that off, that's got information on all the extras. I'll pop that up in the corner for you to see, and we have an image there from one of the movies. On the top we have the title of the box set. And on the bottom there are some specifications. So taking off the lid, that hinged lid, I love these box sets, very sturdy indeed. We've got the titles here which I will address in just a moment. Inside we have a nice yellow interior. Okay, first title out of the box set is Angel on the Amazon. It's also known as Drums Along the Amazon. It's a black and white adventure film from 1948 and it's directed by John H. Auer. Starts off with a flight leaving for Rio de Janeiro with the aim of dropping off some air supplies to a camp in the Amazon jungle. But they fly straight through a storm. It knocks out both of their engines, causing them to crash in that jungle. But luckily it's where they were going to drop off the supplies anyway. Knowing there are headhunters in the area, the camp leader and explorer Christine Ridgway, who's being played by Vera Ralston, she rushes with a team to intercept the downed aircraft. And amongst the survivors of the crash, you've got the pilot, Jim Warburton, being played by George Brent. You've got Dr. Karen Lawrence, played by Constance Bennett. Anyway, it is a close shave, but Christine leads them to safety away from the tribal drummings and the headhunters all coming after them. And all the while, Warburton is fixated on trying to hit on Christine, despite having almost 20 years on her. Now, later in the film, Christine leaves camp early, leaving Warburton and Dr. Lawrence in the hands of a capable guide, much to Warburton's frustrations, but they do get to Rio safely. They later bump into Christine again when a very strange secret is discovered. That's all I'm going to say story-wise. Very of its time, this one. Warburton just comes off as a creepy old lech that doesn't take no for an answer. Picture quality, very good. There's a scratch or two on the print, but nothing to get in a twist about. It's got a runtime 1 hour 26 minutes. Let's take a look inside. This is a shared disc, but the front cover image has been put onto the disc. So that was Angel on the Amazon. Next one to show you is Daughter of the Jungle. This is a black and white adventure film from 1949, directed by George Blair, who also made Perils of the Jungle 4 years later. This movie opens up with a small plane carrying a gangster called Lamsa, who's being transported back to America by a police officer called Paul Cooper. He's being played by James Cardwell. He unfortunately took his own life when he was 32 years old because his career started to dry up. Unfortunately, the plane crashes over the African jungle, but the troubled plane is heard by a female version of Tarzan called Takura, who swings from tree to tree doing a Tarzan cry as she goes. At one point, she actually in the film wrestles a fully grown rubber crocodile. Anyway, before Takura can reach the survivors, the tribe of African warriors, they intercept the plane. Lamster, he snatches a gun from Paul and he shoots one of them dead. Now Takura, she swings in, stops the attack on both sides. Now despite having lived in the jungle since she was 9, Takura has makeup on, a made-to-measure outfit complete with a bra. So it's very handy having those jungle shops nearby. She is there with her father, rich father, whose wealth is about to be handed down to his daughter when she reaches 21, which is just a few months away. So they all need to get home before it's donated by default to charity. This film was voted one of the top 50 worst films of all time. I don't think a single African actor was used in this film. Even the gorilla was a guy in a suit. This was enjoyable nonsense. It does sound like I didn't like it, but I really did. It's a lot of fun. It's got a runtime of 1 hour 20 minutes. Let's take a look inside. So this is the other film on the shared disc, and the front cover image has been put onto the disc. So that was Daughter of the Jungle, and on the front cover there you can see our American hero saving the poor damsel in distress who actually has lived in the jungle pretty much her entire life. Next film to show you is Fair Wind to Java. This is an adventure film from 1953. It's filmed in true colour and it's directed by Joseph Kane, who made a lot of Gene Autry and Roy Rogers movies in his career. This film is set in 1883, follows Captain Boll, who is trying to turn a profit with his merchant ship, but because of pirates and sailing restrictions, he opts for a different solution. Captain Boll is being played by Fred McMurray, who buys an enslaved woman's freedom. The woman is called Kim Kim, and she was enslaved to be a dancer for a sultan. Kim Kim being played by Vera Ralston, who played Christine in Angel on the Amazon. Now, Kim Kim, she knows the location of the secret diamond treasure, and that's exactly what Captain Boll intends to use to make his fortune. His first mate, Flint, he finds out that the captain purchased Kim Kim, which happens to be illegal, and he wants half the diamond fortune to ensure his silence. Pretty fair, I think. Now, Captain Boll hides Kim Kim on board the ship and tries to persuade the crew that she's a stowaway. And with the crew as horny as the day is long, this causes a little, well, let's say a few issues here and there, especially when Flint tells the crew that the captain is not in his right mind and tries to start a mutiny. Flint, by the way, is played by John Russell, who was in both Outlaw Josie Wells and Pale Rider, which recently had a 4K release. Anyway, I'll leave it there, but there's plenty more going on in this movie. Picture quality overall is very good. There is an occasional scratch in the film and a bit of frame damage, but nothing to distract you from the story, which is a lot of fun. It's got a runtime of 1 hour 32 minutes. Let's take a look inside. So the front cover image has been put onto the disc, and on the reverse of the cover is a screenshot from the film. So that was Fair Wind to Java. Next one to show you from this box set is Elephant Walk. Now this is an adventure drama from 1954 and it's directed by William Dieterle and it stars Peter Finch as John Wiley. Now in this movie, John owns a tea plantation in Ceylon, which in the film is still under British rule. It actually gained independence in 1948 and remained part of the Commonwealth till 1972, where it was renamed then as Sri Lanka. Anyway, John marries Ruth, who is played by Elizabeth Taylor, who the role originally went to Vivian Leigh, but she left during filming due to ill health. So John and Ruth, they move into this very opulent residence, which is as big as a hotel with dozens of servants, where the legend of John's father, Tom, is very much talked about despite being dead for some years. Now the legend tells how the governor, Tom, shot and killed the female elephant who was the mate of the large mature bull elephant. And on top of that, Tom had his tropical palace built directly in the path of the elephant trail, which leads these elephants straight to their watering hole. He's living permanently in his father's shadow and makes John very angry, rude, ignoring his wife and entertaining his friends, which pushes her into the arms of Dick Carver, the plantation manager, played by Dana Andrews. Ruth also has to deal with a very rude servant called Abu Hami, who's being played by Abraham Sofer, but eventually things do reach a boiling point and everything changes. Now this is a very slow-paced film, but it's an interesting watch nonetheless, even just for the bizarre attitudes of the time. It's got a runtime of 1 hour 43 minutes. Let's take a look inside. So that incredible front cover image has been put onto the disc, and on the reverse of the cover is a screenshot from the film. So that was Elephant Walk. Okay, the last film in this box set is Safari. It's from 1956. It's directed by Terence Young, whose films include From Russia with Love, Thunderball, Triple Cross, Wait Until Dark, and Zarek, which pops up in the very first Tales of Adventure box set. Now, this is a revenge movie which stars Victor Mature as Ken Duffield. He is a big game hunter who's killing elephants on safari in Kenya, whilst back home his farm is attacked by Mau Mau rebels, and they kill his livestock, they kill his staff, and they kill 2 members of his family, his son Charlie being played by John Wynne and his auntie May played by Estelle Brody. Turns out the houseboy by the name of Jiroji was in fact a Mau Mau general in disguise, and it was he who killed Ken's son. Jiroji is played by Earl Cameron. Whilst Ken is drowning his sorrows in a bar, a millionaire and his wife arrive in Nairobi to hire Ken as a safari guide. The millionaire is Vincent Brampton, played by Roland Culver, who was 56 when this was filmed. And his on-screen trophy wife is Linda, played by Janet Leigh, who was just 31 years at the time of filming. Ken accepts this job and it'll give him a chance to track down Jiroji. Now, if you decide to watch this, be warned, there are a number of large, beautiful animals killed in this film, and it's pretty obviously the kills are real. Not pleasant to see at all. Now, aside from that, the movie is very good. It's got a good plot and it's well told. It's got a runtime of 1 hour 31 minutes. Let's take a look inside. The front cover image has been put onto the disc, and on the reverse of the cover is a screenshot from the film. So that was Safari. Okay, so I'm going to crack into this box set. It is Tales of Adventure Collection 5. On the front cover image there, we have elements from all the films inside, a little bit of everything there. On the side, we have the titles of the films. The box set titled there with Alien underneath, and on the back there is this peel away card. This has all the special features. I'll put it up in the corner so you can have a look through for yourselves, and the titles of the films as well. And on the back there you have a picture of Patricia Laffin from Devil Girl from Mars. That's a lovely image there. On the lid we have the title, and on the bottom there's just some information about the box set itself. Okay, so we're going to remove the lid. It is nice and snug. These are very good quality, thick card. Got the films in there, which I will come to in just a moment individually, and inside like a blood red, almost like lava. So that is a really good solid box. So let's crack on with the films. Okay, so the first title from the box set is The 27th Day. Now this is a black and white sci-fi drama from 1957 and it's directed by William Astor, this being his 3rd movie. This film starts off with 5 seemingly random people from around the globe being abducted by an alien who informs them he is from a doomed planet where all life is going to perish. The alien, who is in humanoid form, is played by Arnold Moss, and he tells these 5 random people that his civilization is looking for a new planet and they'd like to relocate to Earth within the next 35 days. They don't intend to invade because that's against their code. Instead, the alien gives each of the 5 Earthlings a capsule that is capable of killing millions of humans, and only humans, which is activated through thought. There are safeguards built in the capsule. If the human happens to die before it's activated, then the capsule will just disintegrate. So one of the humans, a woman from China called Su Tan, she immediately takes her own life. The woman from the UK, she throws her capsule into the English Channel, and then she catches a flight to LA to meet up with Jonathan Kent, who's being played by Gene Barry. Kent is also one of the capsule owners. The other 2 people are a German scientist and a soldier from the Soviet Union. And to push their agenda along, the alien broadcasts a message throughout the world identifying the 5. He also mentions they have a capsule of great power. That's all he says, making the Soviet Union obviously paranoid and desperate to use it before the Americans do. Now, this was a solid film. Picture quality was superb, and the ending was refreshing as well. It's got a runtime 1 hour 16 minutes. Let's take a look inside. So this is a shared disc, and I have put a partial image from the front cover onto the disc. So that was the 27th day. Next one to show you is The Night the World Exploded. This is a sci-fi disaster film from 1957, directed by Fred F. Sears and produced by Sam Kasman. He was a prolific B-movie producer, and the 2 actually worked together on The Giant Claw. That's a film you had to see to be believed. In this, a team of scientists have built an early warning system so they can predict earthquakes, and the team consists of Dr. Conway, being played by William Leslie, Laura Hutchinson, being played by Catherine Grant, who sadly passed away last September, and Dr. Morton, who is played by Tris Coffin, who was in King of the Rocket Men from Tales of Adventure Volume 4. So this machine predicts a big earthquake in California. They warn a skeptical Governor Cheney, being played by Sidney Greenstreet, who just dismisses their claim, but it hits and it kills thousands of people. So the team predict more earthquakes, and they decide to monitor the earth from deep within the Carlsbad Caverns in New Mexico. And it's here they find the cause of the quakes. It's a rock which they named Element 112, which when dry expands and explodes. And of course they are bone dry in these caverns because of the constant drilling exposing the element. Now obviously the only female on the team becomes a damsel in distress while descending into the caves. It is the 50s after all. Luckily Conway was there to coax her down. What a guy. This was a fun film with a moral message attached, and it is pin sharp, this to say the least. It's got a runtime of 1 hour 4 minutes. Let's take a look inside. So this is the other film on the shared disc, and that front cover image has been put onto the disc. So that was The Night the World Exploded. Okay, next movie to show you is actually in colour. It's This Island Earth from 1955, directed by Joseph Newman and Jack Arnold. The movie opens up with Dr. Carl Meacham being saved when his plane hits trouble on the way to the lab. A green glow and a high-pitched sound surround his aircraft and bring him safely into land. Meacham is being played by Rex Reason, great name. Now at his lab he receives an instruction manual how to build an interocitor, and he and his assistant have no idea where this manual come from or what it's for, but he builds it anyway, and when it's complete an alien scientist called Exeter pops up on the screen. Exeter is being played by Jeff Marrow, who is wearing some kind of Oompa Loompa wig. Now Exeter explains to Meacham that he has passed his first test and his service is now required along with several other scientists from around the world to help him and his dying planet, which is under attack from another alien race. I won't say any more story-wise, but I will also mention it stars Faith Dummerer as Dr. Ruth Adams, Russell Johnson as Dr. Carlson, Lance Fuller as Exeter's assistant Brack, who's also wearing an Oompa Loompa wig, and a cat called Neutron, who also starred in The Breakfast at Tiffany's. Now, I thoroughly enjoyed this film, a lot of fun. Picture quality on this was superb, and it's got a runtime of 1 hour 26 minutes. Let's take a look inside. That front cover image has been put onto the disc. And on the reverse of the cover we have an image of an alien with a damsel in distress. This is a publicity shot. This is not a screenshot from the film. So that was This Island Earth. Next one to show you is Devil Girl from Mars, a sci-fi alien movie from 1954 directed by David MacDonald, and this is set in and around a small inn in Scotland. I've actually shown the UK release for this one before. An alien by the name of Naya is heading towards London to look for eligible men to repopulate her home planet, but through circumstance she is forced to land her spaceship in the Scottish Highlands instead. Naya being played by leather-clad Patricia Laffin. Now at the inn it's heard on the radio there was a meteor sighted as well as a loud noise, and the Home Office has sent a professor and a journalist to try and investigate. The professor is Arnold Hennessy, being played by the Irish actor Joseph Tumilty, and the journalist is Michael Carter, being played by the Scottish actor Hugh McDermott. It's also announced on the radio as well that a prisoner has escaped from a nearby prison and he is in the area. The prisoner is Robert Justin, being played by Peter Reynolds, and Robert is also using the alias of Albert Simpson. Now, there are a handful of people already at the inn. You've got the landlord, being played by John Lorry, his wife being played by Sophie Stewart, a runaway fashion model being played by Hazel Court, a young boy called Tommy, and a barmaid being played by Adrian Corey. Premise remains the same. Naya still wants to take some men with her back to her home planet, but for some reason they're objecting. So Naya, armed with a ray gun, she puts a force field around the inn and she introduces the occupants to a robot Channy, which looks like a strong wind can blow him over at any moment with his styrofoam arms. I love this movie. It's very out there. I will say the sound that they use for the spaceship is very impressive. I'm pretty sure they used jet engines for that one. And it's got a runtime at 1 hour 17 minutes. Let's take a look inside. The front cover image has been put onto the disc, and on the reverse of the cover there's a screenshot from the film. So that was Devil Girl from Mars, and comparing this to the UK release, the picture quality is exactly the same. It's pin sharp. The UK release comes with art cards and a slipcover, but you don't need a slipcover because this is in a box set. But this does feature a special feature that is not present on the UK release. Next one to show you is The Gamma People. This is a black and white sci-fi film from 1956. It's directed by John Gilling, who also wrote the screenplay. This movie opens up with a train carrying a journalist and a photographer who are heading through Europe to Salzburg. The journalist is Mike Wilson, being played by Paul Douglas, and the photographer is Howard Mead, being played by Leslie Phillips. Ding dong. Okay, on the journey, the train coupling snaps, then a couple of boys, they pull a lever at the track points and it sends their carriage in a separate direction to the main train into the fictional democracy of Goldavia, which is under a dictatorship. So the train rolls to a halt and Howard and Mike are promptly arrested. Now, the science fiction element comes into play when it's discovered that the experiments in the town are being carried out on the children of Goldavia. The children, they're being bombarded with gamma rays in the hopes of creating a society of geniuses, which they do for the main part, but they also produce, as well as geniuses, let's just say, a bunch of imbeciles and goons, and these are Howard's and Mike's words, not mine. Obviously, the two travellers, they want to get to the bottom of things, and I got to say, Mike and Leslie, they have very good on-screen chemistry. They're a bit like the Odd Couple in a way. This movie has got a very interesting premise, and it is well executed. It's got a runtime of 1 hour 19 minutes. Let's take a look inside. So the front cover image has been put onto the disc, and on the reverse of the cover is a screenshot from the film, and that mask is very creepy looking. It's made by one of the children that are not unlike the Hitler Youth. So that was The Gamma People. Okay, included in the extras of The Gamma People is the film The Underwater City. It's a sci-fi film from 1962. It's in colour, directed by Frank McDonald, and it starts off with a Walt Disney type character, Dr. Halstead, being played by Carl Benton Reed, who runs the Institute of Oceanography, and he hires a red-blooded commander, Bob Gage, top engineer, through as an associate, to stop plans building a space station and concentrate on his new project, the Underwater City. Bob is being played by William Lundgren. Now, Dr. Halstead believes this is the future of mankind's survival, and it all depends on this new project, but Bob is not convinced, but he goes along with it anyway. He's sent for a medical where he flirts with the doctor, who happens to be Dr. Halstead's niece, Dr. Monica Powers, being played by Julie Adams. He passes that test and work gets underway, and the bill goes, well, relatively smoothly. To be fair, the interiors are not dissimilar to that of the Star Trek Enterprise quarters, with soft furnishings and underwater views. But when giant creatures of the deep come in to be a threat and the seabed is very unstable in places, maybe the ocean floor wasn't all it's cracked up to be. This wasn't a bad movie at all. It's one I would actually buy if it's given a standalone Blu-ray release. It's got a runtime of 1 hour 18 minutes. So that concludes the first box set. Let's move on to volume 6. Here we go with Tales of Adventure collection number 6, and on the front there we have images taken from all the movies. On the side there we have the titles of the films included. On the back we have the title of the box set. Now on the back, I've taken the card off, I'll put it up in the corner. This has all the special features. And on the back there we have an image taken from the bridge at Remagen. On the top there we have Tales of Adventure collection 6. And some specs on the bottom. Inside we have all the films in individual cases, and That interior colour, it's like an orangey sunset. First title out of this box set is Counter Attack. It's a black and white war film from 1945. It's directed by Zoltan Korda, and the movie starts out on the Eastern Front in 1942 with Soviets planning to build a bridge just under the surface of the water so it's undetectable, and this is to try and gain an advantage over the advancing German army. Not sure if building bridges just under the water surface was common practice during World War II. It's something I'm going to have to investigate. So, a Soviet colonel, Semenov, being played by George McCready, he gives the orders for some of his troops to be airdropped behind enemy lines, and that's in the hopes of trying to snatch a German officer so they can interrogate him and obtain vital information. And it all goes well. Alexei, a Soviet soldier played by Paul Muni, he takes a basement full of German soldiers prisoner. Paul won the Best Acting Oscar for his role as Louis Pasteur in 1936. So also in the basement with Alexei is his injured comrade, Lisa Elenko, being played by Margaret Chapman, whose acting career spanned 4 decades. Anyway, within moments of taking the prisoners, the upper half of the building is bombed and it blocks them all underground, and Alexei continues his mission of trying to locate these officers hiding amongst the prisoners. But he's got a challenge. He's got to try and keep himself awake long enough for it to all go to fruition. Set for the most part in this very low lit basement, but the picture was pin sharp. It's got a runtime of 1 hour 30 minutes. Let's take a look inside. So that front cover image has been put onto the disc, and on the reverse of the cover is a screenshot from the film. So that was Counter Attack. Okay, next one to show you is Abandoned Ship, a black and white drama from 1957, and this is based on actual events, and it's directed by Richard Sell, who wrote the short story from which this film is based. It's about a super luxury liner called Crescent Star, which sinks when it hits an abandoned World War II mine at sea and explodes underneath the keel, and the liner is lost within 7 minutes, along with 1,119 souls, leaving just 37 survivors fighting for their lives in shark-infested waters. It's also discovered that radio operators didn't have time to put out a distress call, and if that's not enough, the nearest island is 1,500 miles away, and there's just one lifeboat left, which is vastly overcrowded, so rowing there is out of the question. In the lifeboat, we've got a dying captain who relinquishes his command to his executive officer, Alec Holmes, who's being played by Tyrone Power, who, despite age just 44 years old when he died, acted for almost 30 years. In the lifeboat, Alec is trying to bring order to an almost mutinous mixture of crew and passengers, and to make things even more complicated, there's a storm brewing on the horizon and supplies are very low. I won't say any more story-wise, but Alec has to make some very tough choices on board. There's also Victor Madden, whose films include The Sea Shall Not Have Them, and as well as 5 Carry On movies. You've got Moira Lister as Edith. She's a very strong character. Her films include Pool of London and The Cruel Sea. And there's also Gordon Jackson as well, best known for playing George Cowley in The Professionals, or even Mr. Hudson in Upstairs, Downstairs. Now, the picture quality on this was crystal clear, and it's a great film. It's got a runtime of 1 hour 37 minutes. Let's take a look inside. The front cover image has been put onto the disc, and on the reverse of the cover is a screenshot from the film. So that was Abandoned Ship. Next one to show you is King Rat, a black and white war film from 1965 directed by Brian Forbes, who also did the screenplay, and this is a film set in the Japanese prisoner of war camp towards the end of World War II. It focuses on Corporal King, played by George Segal, who is an American soldier who's doing much better than everybody else in camp, and this is because he's a black marketeer. He's not particularly liked amongst the Americans, English or Australian officers in camp, but it's like water off a duck's back to him. Prison itself isn't your conventional prisoner of war camp. There are very few guards on duty, no walls to speak of, and they stay there because, well, there's nowhere else to go. They're on an island of Singapore, surrounded by the Singapore Straits, a bit like Alcatraz really, so there's no escape. Now, King, he makes himself an acquaintance in camp called Marlowe, who is a British flight lieutenant, played by James Fox, and King needs Marlowe to be his translator during doing some dodgy deals. And they get along very well, and they respect each other to a certain degree, and Marlowe's arm, he gets crushed in the film under a tree that's being felled and it needs amputating, but King, he pays it over the odds to get in the medicine he requires. I won't say any more story-wise, but I will also mention that this has got a stellar cast. You've got John Mills, he is Colonel Smedley Taylor. You've got Tom Courtney, he is the acting Captain Grey. He's a by-the-book officer, nobody likes him, and he despises King. Leonard Roster's in this as Major McCoy, and you've also got Denholm Elliott as Colonel Larkin. This is a character study showing strength in the face of adversity, and picture quality on this is absolutely brilliant. It's got a runtime of 2 hours 15 minutes. Let's take a look inside. The front cover image has been put onto the disc, and on the reverse of the cover is a screenshot from the end of the film. So that was King Rat. Okay, next and last in this box set is The Bridge at Remagen. This is a World War II film from 1969. It's loosely based on actual events and directed by John Gillerman. This movie is in colour, by the way, and it's set March 1945, so it's right at the end of World War II, with the Germans in full retreat. The movie opens up with the American 9th Armoured Division trying to capture the Oberkassel Bridge, which crosses into the Rhine. They fail because the Germans blow it up, stopping them getting into the heart of Germany. So it leaves one bridge exposed, the bridge at Remagen. Germans need it destroyed and the Americans need it saved in order to enter the city. So the race is on. Now, heading up the American side is Lieutenant Phil Hartman, played by George Siegel, and heading up the German side is Major Paul Kruger, being played by Robert Vaughn. Thing is, Kruger needs to try and delay the destruction as long as possible because the German 15th Army, some 75,000 men, are still needing to retreat across the bridge and they're trapped on the west bank. Going in, I thought this was a first time watch, but I did recall a couple of scenes, so I probably haven't seen this movie since around about the 1970s. Also stars Anna Gale, who married Viscount Weymouth and became Marchioness of Bath. E.G. Marshall, Ben Gazzara, Bradford Dillman, and there's also Matt Clark, whose career spanned 6 decades, and movies include The Beguiled, The Outlaw Josie Wells, Return to Oz, and Class Action, but you'll probably remember him most as a bartender in Back to the Future Part 3. This was a very good war film, a lot of action, and a runtime 1 hour 57 minutes. Let's take a look inside. So that front cover image has been put onto the disc, and on the reverse of the cover is a screenshot from the film. So that was The Bridge at Remagen. So thank you very much to Imprint Films for sending me over all those lovely titles. It's very much appreciated. You guys are a star. So that was it. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Give the video a thumbs up. Leave a comment if you wish. I will get back to you in time. And I hope you all the best for the future. Hopefully I will be back one day, but you never know. Take care, everybody.